Hi, everybody. Ian Bremmer here, and some primaries going on in the United States. And I thought I would offer a few moments on Graham Platner because he's gotten so much attention online over the last week. And I have to admit that generally I care about Maine almost as little as I care about Rhode Island. But it does matter this time around because the Senate is in play. The Democrats need to flip 4 seats in order to take over that body. And while it's virtually certain that the Dems will retake the House, the Senate is a big climb. A lot of things have to go well. And they certainly have a shot, in part because Trump is so underwater, 38% approval ratings right now. He's helped them out by, supporting some problematic candidates, like particularly Paxson in Texas, makes it much more likely that Texas is in play, which otherwise would be a really steep climb for the Democrats in Tallarico. And the Dems so far have been picking candidates that look really plausible, mostly in the center, folks that can generally win, but not in Maine. And that's interesting. And so it's indeed possible that Maine becomes harder to flip as a consequence of the person who is very likely to pick up the primary today. Now, you could say that Graham Platner is the candidate for literally everybody, because on the one hand, he has the policies that appeal to the progressive left, and he has the personal character, treatment of women that should appeal to people that like Trump. So it's candidates for everybody, right? Everyone should like this guy. But in reality, of course, that's not what we're talking about. The platform is interesting. It is a quite progressive platform, and it's one that you see with elements of the economic populism that's been very popular for both ends of the political spectrum. He's closest to Bernie Sanders, maybe also AOC. He wants higher taxation on the rich. He wants end to corruption, Citizens United. He wants, sort of no more stock trading for members of Congress. He's a big union guy. He wants a higher federal minimum wage. He wants Medicare for all. He wants federal support for affordable housing. He wants to end military involvement abroad. So, kind of a mashup of a lot of things that got Trump elected first time around. He also is a big gun owner. He's former military himself, and also is very close to a lot of the things that have been so popular on the left. Got Zohran Mamdani elected in New York City, for example. But he's also got a lot of things that he has said historically that are pretty horrible that are coming out. And he's got a big Nazi tattoo right on his chest, which he claims he didn't know what it was at the time. I don't think anybody should be buying that. That's kind of ridiculous. And okay, he had PTSD in the military and he had a really troubled background. It was a long time ago, but it's a Nazi tattoo. So like that, it's hard to overlook that. But then again, it's also hard to overlook so many of the things that have been overlooked for so many people in the Republican Party. And it's the Democrats who have had a much harder time with personal foibles, with character flaws, with skeletons in the closet. Even when they're comparatively smaller than what we see with Platner, they've drummed people out of the party for less. And they've also not had great electoral success. So is this the time that the Democrats are going to embrace a guy that is deeply problematic in many ways because he's going to pick them up a seat? And it does look that is the lesson that the Democrats are learning. Good enough for the Republicans, for Trump, why not for the Democrats for a key Senate seat? And I don't balance. I think that politically that's the right move for the short term. Long term, of course, none of this is good. long term, you want leaders that you can respect, that stand for something. I mean, Andrew Cuomo, in running in New York, was problematic and ultimately lost to someone with virtually no experience. And big questions about what he would actually do in office because the character flaws were seen to be far too great. And ultimately, so much of the problem in U.S. politics and frankly among governments around the world is that there are many, many leaders that the people that are voting for don't trust. They think they're lying, and even if they're quote unquote authentic, those sorts of people tend to really turn off people on the other side of the political spectrum. So you don't have political leaders that can appeal more broadly. And like for example, the Pope can, or Roger Federer can. I mean, like, where are those people in the U.S. political system? I mean, I see a very small number. I see like a Lisa Murkowski in Alaska. I see like a John Ossoff in Georgia. But in general, there are very few people that have the capacity in principle, to appeal more broadly, and that is really, I think, a big challenge to the existing parties right now. Having said all of that, I do think that despite all of his foibles, he is more likely to win. And when it comes to dealing with Trump right now, that is the focus of the Democratic Party, without any question. So we'll see where this goes. More populism in the United States on the left and the right, more anti-establishment sentiment, I think, is going to be the way to get the nomination for the Dems and the Republicans in 2028. It's going to be, I expect, a very, very divided election. But out of that doesn't mean that you can't find someone that is a more ultimately respectable figure that people can trust. And that is what I am hoping for. That's certainly where I will eventually put my vote behind, wherever it comes from. That's it for me. And happy primary day for those of you that follow and celebrate. I'll talk to you all real soon.